Hi everyone, it's Kevin and Frank from Cruising with Wheels, and we have another subscriber Q&A. This is episode 17. So if you have questions, we encourage you to send them in to us. We accept questions via Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. You can email us. It's cruisingwithwheels@rochester.rr.com.
How about the Twitter?
Oh, you can also tweet us. Tweet, tweet! You're a dork. We're both dorks. But let's get right to the first question.
All right, who's first?
The first question came via Facebook from Neil. And Neil asked, ooh, this is going to be fun because there's no answers written down. Usually we write down answers on here. So we're going to answer these live right now. Well, it's really not live, but we're going to answer them right now on this video for you. So the first question comes from Facebook, and it comes from Neil. And he asks, how far in advance are the e-docs ready? I keep getting an error message from my July cruise. Is it just too early? I keep hoping they will have my airline schedule on them. Thanks. So I think Neil might be traveling NCL if he's asking about airline schedule, because NCL was doing in their free at sea program for a little while. You could get free airfare, but they select your schedule. So I'm not sure who he's traveling with, but most of the cruise lines are the same, right? For your e-docs. What is it? Well, it has to be when the cruise is paid for.
Well, that's number one, which is usually like, what, 90 to 120 days?
It's usually 120 days prior to sailing. And usually, as soon as your cruise is paid, you can print your e-docs.
Right. Now, you have to do a check-in process, correct? I mean, you do all of that. I'm really not involved in it. But you go through and you do the check-in. And because a lot of times people don't continue and do 100% of the check-in, and then they can't figure out why they can't print their e-docs.
Right, right.
And they're like, well, maybe you need to go back in. Or some people are like, yeah, but I thought I finished it and it was 100%, but I went back in to check and it says I'm only 80%. Well, go back in and finish it up, and then your e-docs should be ready to print. I mean, if you're still having a problem, you know what we always say, get on the phone.
Get on the phone and give a call. But
let's
see, March, April, May, June,
and then
July.
I don't know when in July.
I think he's a little too early for his e-docs, but I hope he gets to print them soon. I know I like to print mine as soon as possible.
He's like, oh, we're ready to go. You know, the time is right. The check-in is done. I'm printing the e-docs. And I'm like, thank you. Hand them over. I need to put them in the file. Charge of the paperwork.
What's our next question from?
Now, the next one also comes from Facebook. It's from Pam. And Pam says, in your opinion or experience, should I book through the cruise line, a third-party cruise site, or a travel agent? And this comes up all the time.
Well, so let's start by explaining the three options. So the three options is the cruise line.
Which I want to preface by saying we have experienced all three.
Yes, we have. So so we do have a video, and I'll link it above. It's all about the three options, the top three ways to book your cruise. But the first is through the cruise line, which would mean you would directly call them, or you go online and just book it yourself directly through their website. The second would be a third-party cruise site, which would be like Expedia, cruises.com,
which is who we use now.
You know, or a travel agent. Now, a travel agent would be someone sitting at that third-party cruise site. They're travel agents. Some of them. Some of them are just agents that are booking agents,
Right.
because
Or-
there's two different types
or
of people.
a travel agency in your
In your area.
city, which again we have used. Now we started
We started with a local
with a
travel
local
agency.
train. Yes, we did.
And I will tell you that things have changed over the years. Now, usually, when you book with a third-party cruise line site or with a travel agent, there usually is a little fee. But you do tend to get perks out of that. So it all depends on your preference and what you want to do.
Right.
We feel very comfortable with our agent at a third-party site, which is cruises.com. So Pam, if you're interested, just email me or message me on Facebook, and I'll get you our agent's information.
Now there's so many pros and cons because it's nice to have that third party, that travel agent in your city. We would take a trip and go to their office. It's nice.
It's so fun.
It was nice to see Jennifer, local contact, right where you live, one-on-one, personal relationship being developed. And then, of course, it segued into...
we were doing a lot more cruising.
Right, and then you get more comfortable
Yeah.
in terms of what you know, the do's and the don'ts and the pitfalls. And then we segued into cruises.com. But we, again, developed a personal relationship, though it's via phone, with our contact, Donna. But then there are people who are like, no, I deal directly with the cruise line. I do 1-800 whatever, and they're
You almost hit me in the
and
face.
they feel there are pros to that, and I feel there's I don't know the con to that is
There are pluses and minuses with all three.
Yeah.
And so it's whatever you're going to feel comfortable with. I feel more comfortable booking through a third party company, and I feel more comfortable because we deal with the same person every time. You can do that with directly through the cruise line. They're called
cruise consultants.
Cruise consultants or PCPs or I just like to have somebody who isn't vested in that particular cruise company fighting in my corner instead of me calling up and they saying, sorry, we can't do anything for you. So that's why I choose a third party or a travel agent.
Yeah, someone a little bit more independent than the person who actually works for the cruise line.
Right.
And again, it depends on what perks and deals you might get, because that's how we did the switch. Is we got a great deal.
We got a great deal, and we get added perks by booking through the third party. So my biggest piece of advice to you, Pam, is ask your friends, ask online, email us. We'd be more than happy to give you our agent's information. But it's all the comfort level you have.
Right, absolutely.
So our next question comes from Karen from Facebook again. Facebook's pretty popular
Very,
lately,
very busy.
And Karen writes, how fast do especially restaurants' reservations sell out? That's a hard question to answer. We find that we book as fast as they are released for us to book. We get on the phone and I book them.
Soon as it opens up, we are on that phone with our itinerary and schedule. Kevin and I have already sat down prior. We know exactly which restaurants we want to eat at. We know the days we want to eat at based on if we're in port or not in port and kind of what's going on.
If you go to our Facebook page, you will find that we have all of our forms available there in the photo section. It's in the photo section, right?
Yep.
And there's a worksheet for figuring out what restaurant you want to eat at on what day, so that you can have the information with you for your whole entire itinerary. And when you call, you can just book them all.
Right.
Now, I am a big proponent of calling to
Yeah.
book them rather than doing it online.
Yes,
and the reasoning is they have more flexibility with times and group sizes.
Right.
Any cruise line that we've ever been on, any group larger than 6, I believe, you have to call anyways. So, yeah, I would say as soon as you can book it, book it.
Right.
And I feel like the larger ships, it's more important to book the reservations as soon as possible. The smaller ships, usually, we found that we can get in when we want.
And some people
Some people don't book at all.
don't book at all. Some people don't know they can book.
But I think that's a mistake.
That they can book their reservations from home. Some people are like, yeah, I know, but I don't care, and I'll just get on the ship. And then they get on the ship and are like, oh my God, I can't get a reservation for La Cucina if you're going NCL, or I can't get a reservation for whatever.
Chops Grill, or whomever.
But if they are booked, there is an option, right? Because they have waiting lists.
Yes. Yep.
So
what's our next question? Our next question is from Bonnie from Facebook, and she messaged us on Facebook.
She said, Frank, you say that you don't like to be touched. Does that mean no hugs from anyone? Well, I think that's in reference to the video we did on the top 5 best spa treatments and the 5
worst,
weirdest spa treatments. And I said, oh, I don't like to be touched. No, I'm a hugger. What I don't like is for me to be on a table, undressed, being manhandled by someone I don't know. Now, that doesn't mean I don't mind being manhandled by someone I do know. But no, I'm a hugger. But
do we have to go there?
Well, I'm just saying, because people are like, what do you mean you don't like to be touched? I'm like, no.
Some people just aren't touchy people.
Some people are like, some people won't even shake your hand. But no, I'm a hugger.
So our next question comes from Christopher via YouTube. And he writes, I'm planning a cruise here shortly. From a wheelchair and my first cruise ever. How do you get from the airport to the ship?
Okay, so it sounds like you're flying in the same day. Okay.
Well, there's a lot of information that we don't have from Christopher, so we'll have to go through the different options. Right. First of all, we don't know if Christopher is completely confined to a wheelchair or not. Frank is not completely confined. Yeah. He can transfer from...
I always have my cane and my other cane, and that lifts me up, and I can maneuver on a carry-drag kind of thing from my wheelchair as they're shoving me into the van. So yeah.
So if you're not completely confined, then your options would be Uber, Lyft, Uber and Lyft. But if you do an Uber or Lyft, you want to get an XL. There's different options when you order the car, and basically you need the XL so the wheelchair can fit in their trunk or in the back along with their luggage.
If you have a foldable, collapsible wheelchair.
You can also, if you're flying in the same day...
Does the cruise line have a bus transfer?
Right, and they will have a lift on those buses. And
Don't assume they have one, make sure they have one.
Right, but pretty much if you're in the United States, they're going to have that. And you can also take a taxi.
Right.
We've taken taxis, but we always have to make sure we can't just stand in the taxi line at the airport. Right. We have to go up to the person that's directing the taxis and say, we need a van taxi.
Right.
If you are completely confined, you're going to have to do some research online. There are some companies, private car services, where they have Lyft vans available. So that would be our advice to you.
Google is a wonderful thing.
The next question comes from Lawson, and it was also from YouTube.
Yeah.
What does he say?
On the Royal Caribbean ships, does the Windjammer have free sushi?
Well, that's going to depend on the ship, and it's going to depend on the head chef of the ship. We've seen the sushi in the buffet, and we've been on some that the sushi wasn't available in the buffet. But again,
a lot of times we weren't looking for it because we're not fish people.
So we are going to ask
all of you
to comment below and help Lawson out. The
That's
last
right.
time you were on a Royal Caribbean in the Windjammer, was there sushi?
That's right.
Let us know.
Help him out.
The next question came via YouTube, and it was from Kay, and it was surrounding Holland America food and dining. And she wrote, I don't know about that second entree charge.
Oh, yeah.
Does that mean a second helping of the same thing, or does that apply to ordering 2 different entrees at the same time?
For me, those are the same thing.
It's going to be the same. It's irregardless. It doesn't matter if it's
So-
the same thing or another
Right. If you ordered
item.
a specialty prime rib and you say, well, you know what, I want a second helping, I want another prime rib, that is a second entree.
Right. Well,
Whether
it
it's-
doesn't matter if it's a specialty or
Right.
not.
But I mean, a second, whether it's a prime rib to a chicken dinner or chicken dinner to a chicken dinner, those are 2 entrees.
And Kay, we're really not sure what's going on with this second charge because they're still testing
Yeah.
it. So it's not for sure whether it's going to be carried throughout the whole line. Right now, they're only testing it on 2 ships, 2 or 3 ships. I can't remember.
I'm dying to see the backlash.
Yeah, we've just been watching the carnage at this point.
Yeah.
But don't worry, Kay, you won't go hungry.
No.
And finally, the last question came via email.
Yeah, this is also a common question and probably a misconception. This was an email from Stan, and he asked, are you charged more money for a handicap accessible cabin than a regular cabin?
No. Basically, the handicap accessible cabins are available in certain categories, and it's going to be different on every cruise line. And also, how you have to book that handicap cabin is different on every cruise line. Some allow you to do it online. Some require you to call to make the reservation. But pretty much it's going to depend on what type of cabin it is, which would be inside, ocean view,
I mean,
balcony.
Of course, it's more money for the different
categories.
But in terms
of
we were sailing with Dave and Darlene.
And they paid exactly the same amount that we did.
We had a handicap accessible balcony cabin, and they had a regular balcony cabin, and it was the same price. We don't get charged more money just because my cabin is bigger because it accommodates the full turnaround of my wheelchair.
Now,
good question.
That's an excellent question, and I want to add something to that, which is very often when you see the prices advertised for the cruises, you will see this very low price. Okay. Now the price that they show everybody when they're researching is typically a sail away fare, which means that they're going to assign the cabin once you get to the port. So you get what's left over, which can be great for a lot of people. But if you are handicapped and you require a handicap accessible cabin, you're not eligible in most cases for that sail away rate. So in essence, possibly you could perceive that they're charging a little more because we would have to book. You know, if we want an inside cabin, we have to book an inside cabin and pick that cabin.
We have to.
So,
just like when we get all these update offers to upgrade.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I can give you a balcony. I see you're in an interior. Well, yeah, a handicap interior. You got a handicap balcony for me? No. Well, then I can't upgrade.
Right. So, I hope that answers everybody's questions. We are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. As always, if you're not a regular subscriber,
hit that subscribe button and become a regular Cruising with Wheels family member. And I also want to remind everybody that I have a Facebook group called Cruise Chat.
And now this has nothing to do with Cruising with Wheels. It's just Frank's Cruising Community.
That's right. And I created this group because so many times people go online to these Facebook groups and they give their opinion of how their cruise went, and people, I guess, don't like if they had a bad experience, but people are just telling the truth. It's what happened to them. And you and I have been bounced out of these groups more times than I can tell you. And that's when I decided that's ridiculous. I'm going to create a Facebook group. I call it Cruise Chat. And everyone is welcome from any cruise line. And you just come on in and you share your experience, all your experiences, the good, the bad, and the ugly, because we all want to know.
And speaking of sharing, this is a Thursday video, and we always have super cruisers featured on the end of our Thursday videos. And if you want to be featured, you simply need to email me at cruisingwithwheels@rochester.rr.com. The information is all in the description of the video and at the end. And we will feature you at the end of our Thursday videos. And it needs to be a picture that you have taken on your cruise, with you in it, of course.
Must be you in it.
And you need to give me all the first names of the people that are in the photograph. But until next time, we want to remind everybody to always
travel safe
and cruise often.